TMNT Universe is meant for adult collectors and Ninja Turtles fans. Welcome to TMNT Universe, I'm Ultramex, and today we're going to recap 2024 and look into 2025 to see what the future holds for Ninja Turtles. So let's go!
It's the #1 source for Turtles fans, with reviews and news. TMNT Universe.
You wretched reptiles may have followed me here, but you'll never escape from the past without this!
Welcome back and Happy New Year! San Diego Comic-Con has long since come and gone, as well as New York Comic-Con, and in the blink of an eye we are at the end of another year. So I thought I'd share my thoughts on everything revealed in 2024. Normally I like to do these right after the various shows, but life and a semi-serious medical condition got in the way this year. So let's talk about everything 2024 had to offer and speculate on what's coming in 2025. Since they release most of the TMNT figures nowadays, we are going to start with NECA, so get comfortable because this could take a while. It's always good to begin at the beginning, so let's take a look at where it all started with the Mirage figures. Speaking of beginnings, we got the San Diego 2024 exclusive first sketch turtles depicting both Kevin and Peter's respective first designs. But then, we got the reveal of the not-so-exclusive, but also very cool, black and white variants of those figures. I have an entire shelf for just black and white figures, so this is an absolute must for me. The first awesome thing from San Diego was this new rooftop display. I'm a huge fan of all the specialty-made dioramas that NECA uses to show off their new figures, and this one absolutely captures that Mirage comic look. Like always, some stuff did get revealed before Comic-Con, like Karai as Shredder. We had a couple of leaks leading up to this figure, but images popped up online just before San Diego confirming her release. And as cool as she is, it looks like another leak has Karai in her standard gear coming our way. I would also like a version in her black ninja bodysuit. Continuing with pre-show reveals, Hunter Leo and Old Man Raph figures were also leaked by Kevin Eastman before Comic-Con. But I'm glad we got to see the final figure for Old Man Raph. This version of Raphael is from Puma Blues issue number 20. He even has the little flying manta ray from the book. And the other deep cut figure is Hunter Leonardo from issue number 11 of the original Mirage comic run. I love that they are digging deep into the books for these figures. It's a lot of reuse, but who cares if they're this good? But these variants weren't alone, as we got a couple of other surprises with Handyman Don, also from issue 11, and Super Turtle from Tales of the TMNT Volume 1, issue 5. And he comes with a couple of Domoids from issue 15. These figures will be joining the previously released Wanderer, which makes me curious of what other variants they could do. And there's some stuff we had seen by this point, like the Triceraton Gladiators from issue 6, and Leatherhead, who first showed up in Tales of the TMNT number 6. But this look is more from issue 45, although when the figure went up for pre-order we discovered that he will have a Lawson-style head in addition to the Dan Berger one. And speaking of looks, this was an updated version of the figure with a new scaly texture, but if I'm being honest, I think I prefer the older version better. And it looks like we'll be getting another redeco from IDW colors to classic colors, this time with a battle damaged Shredder. I think we can pretty much assume we will be getting alternate colorways of most figures at this point between Mirage colors, black and white, and IDW. Especially since as soon as this Foot Elite Assassin from City at War was shown off, the red variant started hitting target. Most of the solid colored Foot Clan have been IDW color variants, but I like to think of this red one as the cover of issue number 53. And continuing with that trend, stores started to receive a red variant of the Foot Enforcer. And finally we got to see the new April figure that was teased a long time ago. This figure looks amazing right out of the pages of issue number 7. I wonder what accessory she's going to come with, but something or someone we know she will come with is Professor Obligato. He has a hat and a pipe from the story The Doors of Deception from issue 25 of Volume 2 of Tales of the TMNT. At this point we have several Utrum figures teased from Obligato's story, and I'm starting to wonder how we're going to get them. Perhaps there's a Mirage accessory set in our future. And moving over to New York Comic Con, most of the Mirage figures were characters we had seen before except for one, and that is Shote the Samurai Dinosaur from issue number 46. He's one of the few Mirage characters to make it into the Playmates toy line. I've always loved this character, especially since he's tied to another one of my favorites, as he serves a samurai warlord version of Savani Romero. I really hope we can get this variant in the future as well. After I get a Dino Bone armor version first, Playmates already did it, so NECA is sure to. And the only thing I'm not sure what it comes from is this Kirby creature with a new paint job. Hopefully we'll find that out soon. I keep mentioning the comics these characters appear in so that you can go check out those issues yourself. They are well worth the read. Even though we got a bunch of crazy reveals, my instincts were way off and none of my predictions came through at the various toy shows. I'm not complaining since we're still really early in this particular line and there's plenty of time to get those other figures made. And what better way to be proven wrong than by giving a whole bunch of stuff you didn't even think of. And the most recent hints of what's to come is a potential Unmentionables box set if this artwork is to be believed, as well as a rumored Worms of Madness 2-pack that could have a Return to New York Oroku Saki, as well as a reanimated shark form from Tales of the TMNT Volume 2. And moving over to the ever-growing cartoon line, we finally got to see that new Ultimate Slash, and I have to say, he looks amazing. He's big, he's bulky, he's stupid, just the way he should be. This figure hit stores almost immediately, and after getting one of my own, I'm happy to say that they fixed the shell. 10 out of 10, would recommend. And another single package release we got was Ultimate Shredder. I love the fact that NECA will reboot figures that didn't quite live up to the expectations the first time around. They did it with Krang, April, Slash, and now Shredder. Something I do hope they continue is the modular aspect to these figures, with interchangeable parts that give you the opportunity to recreate your favorite moments from the cartoon show. One of the sets that leaked through the Target system was the Vacation Bebop and Rocksteady 2-pack. I thought we'd be seeing these guys eventually since they appeared on the package for Colossus Napoleon, and I'm down for this. I think Bebop and Rocksteady are ripe for re-release since they had several costume changes throughout the show. And this set hit stores right away. I do like when NECA shows off items that I don't have to wait a year for. And speaking of costume changes, trust NECA to squeeze every opportunity out of a sculpt. When the Punk Disguise Turtles got released, a lot of people, including me, were complaining that the jacket colors didn't quite match the original cartoon. Which made sense because those are from the Usagi episode. But NECA didn't leave us overly obsessive fans hanging for too long, and they produced a Punk Leo and Raph so that you can have either set that you prefer. And it was a long shot for both of these characters, but I sort of predicted, or at the very least hoped, that we would be getting a Worm and Tattoo. Tattoo I thought wouldn't happen since he's only in the tiniest part of one episode and Worm never actually made it into the show. But this figure seems inspired by the animation in the Playmates commercial for the original figure, and both of these guys look great. And a surprise at San Diego, Pixel Dan and Trevor revealed Panda Khan. Like Worm, he never actually appeared in the cartoon, but they really did capture that what-if look. This is one I'm really looking forward to, and during New York Comic Con we got a look at the box art for this figure with the title Crouching Panda, Hidden Turtles. Another New York Comic Con surprise revealed that we are finally getting a Shibano-sama figure, and he will come with Creepy Eddie. I love that they are going far into the roster for these guys. I accurately predicted that there would be some reuse between these involving legs or lower ghost halves, and I'm happy I can check these figures off my most wanted list. And even though this figure comes from the Saturday Morning Adventures comic book, Dark Leo will be part of the Toon line. Which makes sense, as the comic is a continuation of the 87 series. Dark Leo is a trope that pops up in various turtle stories, but this time he gets the full animated treatment. So I guess he's similar to Panda Khan and that teased Last Ronin Toon figure. I like these what-if figures, and I'm hoping they make the other Dark Turtles. Ninja Splinter was the only surprise on the Toon checklist this year. They like to sneak new figures in there, and I always look forward to it. This is a variant I can totally get behind, especially since the original Splinter came with the Sword of Yurikawa from the episode Ninja Splinter made his debut in. And while talking to Veebs, Trevor said that he would come with an alternate unmasked head in a 2-pack this year. But who will he be paired with? I'm hoping a Ninja Garb Shredder or Flashback Oroku Saki. And we closed out another year with no Ray or Tempestra, and sadly no Hans and Feats. So I'll have to keep up my crusade for those characters. Other than those, I hope we get some info on the kitchen diorama and the release window for the Molecular Amplified Krang soon.
And since we're in the realm of TV shows, it seems like a good time to talk about NECA making figures based on the Nickelodeon 2012 Turtles. At SDCC, we got hit with this groundbreaking news with a 3D model of Michelangelo. But in New York, we got to see some amazing painted prototypes of Mikey and Leo, and I must say they look fantastic. The look on Mikey's face is perfect, and we finally have an Ice Cream Kitty figure. These are just 3D prints at this point, so there's still a ways to go. But info from an episode of Now We Know with Trevor and Veebs says that there's already 10 figures at the factory, the Turtles and some villains. I hope they make a lot of figures from this line because this show has so many great characters to choose from. So we already knew that Wrestling Leatherhead was coming due to the leaks, but it was awesome to finally see the figure. I can't really count this prediction from last year's list since that was technically for a regular Leatherhead, but it's cool that NECA really does try to make each version of the character from its original material. And Jess Harley looks great. Although, I hope we still get a standard Archie Leatherhead. And the second pre-show reveal was Cryin' Hound. We got a really good look at him with the fully finished Stump Wrestling Turtles, and again, all of these figures were pretty much available right away. The Archie series could be considered a deep cut, and Cryin' Hound more so that bodes well for us getting some obscure characters in the future. They've even teased Cryin' Hound's alternate wrestling persona, El Mysterio, at the TMNT panel and on the package art for the Stump Turtles. And for me, the wait is finally over as we have an Archie Wingnut and Screwloose. This is my favorite version of these characters, and they really captured the look of both. I absolutely love those bulging eyes. And the attention to detail, like the fact that they have throwing rocks as an accessory, is a nice touch. Another character I've been begging for was Shredder Krang. When we saw Krang with Belly Bomb, I knew this creepy combo couldn't be far behind. The sculpt of this figure is perfect. The stark blue and white and the fact that he comes with a small bonsai tree really shows how committed they are to accuracy. Was right in predicting that Krang would be an additional portrait, but just not the one that came with Belly Bomb. And while we're talking about Belly Bomb, we are getting our first alternate Archie figure with the blue skin version of the character that appeared on the cover for issue 25. As far as I know, that's the only time he's ever been blue. The only other look is the 2012 Billabong that's kind of a greenish gold. And maybe we'll be seeing that guy with the 2012 line. Only time will tell. And lastly, we had A-Stuck revealed in San Diego at the TMNT panel, and by Mad Hatter in test shot form. But at New York Comic Con, we got a full view of the wrestler. Maybe too full a view. Again, I have to applaud the sculpting ability of the NECA team. This muscle-bound waterfowl looks like he leapt right off the page, especially with these comic-accurate expressions. And rounding out the comic book figures, we got Battle Damage Last Ronin that went up for sale as Comic-Con got underway, but we did get plenty of other figures at the show. NECA finally showed off that Grammy April figure and the kid versions of Moja and Yi, who recently went up for pre-order and retail release. I was excited to see the teen versions of the new Turtles. These look amazing. Maybe the kid version of Odin and Uno will come with an older Casey Marie, but for now we have the younger version with a bike. She is also up for pre-order. And of course we got a few more army builders with the Sinja Commando and the Sinja Officer figures. And there was one little thing that I'm still wondering about, which is this work-in-progress Fugitoid head. Not sure if or where this will show up. Following those figures up, New York Comic Con gave us Nightwatcher Leo, Don, and Mikey, and they were joined by Nightwatcher Casey and April from the Christmas checklists. And to cap off the last Ronin, NECA surprise dropped the Ghost Brothers in their online store before the end of the year. That's a lot of good stuff from this line, but they really need to get on making that last Ronin shredder. Wrapping up NECA with the live-action figures, both shows stuck with the 1990 film, with the exception of Shredder's Throne that went up for pre-order and the reveal of the box art at San Diego. I know a lot of people seem lukewarm on this item since its reveal at previous Comic-Cons, but I kinda dig it. Just before San Diego, the Tatsu figure started showing up at Walmart, but this was the first time NECA announced the figure. This display was very cool with a lot of Easter eggs from the first movie, including a stealth reveal of what appears to be Casey Jones in foot disguise. Whether this is a legit figure or not remains to be seen. And two other things of interest were a Pizza Time arcade that is supposed to come with the yellow jumpsuit April that we still haven't seen, and a Tempestra's Revenge arcade machine. I hope that becomes more than just a display piece. In between the two shows, there were some more leaks through different inventory systems of things coming down the pipeline, like Ooze Shredder, whatever that is, as well as a Shredder Leo rooftop fight set and Casey Jones with motorcycle. Those last two made an appearance at New York Comic Con and looked to be a way to get those figures in people's hands if they missed them the first time. Casey's pretty much the same with an addition of a bike and a few hockey pads. The Leo Shredder set seems to be the same, but Leo does have one of the extra heads from the Comic Con TMNT 3 set, and some painted on bruises like the suit had in that fight scene. From the same leaks, besides those two figures and the Ooze Shredder, we can expect to see another movie April, maybe the one in the yellow jumpsuit. And in what has to be one of the coolest figures from a deleted scene from the 1990 movie is Kevin Eastman as a garbage man. And this was the New York Comic Con exclusive. In other live-action inspired figures, we got Universal Monster Turtles in black and white, one set with Wolfman Raph and Hunchback Leo, as well as a 4-pack with the rest of the Turtles. So far there's no sign of April, Splinter, or Casey getting the same treatment, but I'm sure it won't be long. Sadly, we didn't get any new figures in this line at the conventions, but we did get a Best Buy leak of the Dracula Shredder. Hopefully we'll see this figure soon. And rounding out the live-action stuff, we have the Dimension Xmas Vacation set. This set obviously borrows a lot of parts from the musical mutagen figures, but they do have this new oversized plastron from the Christmas suits. Pretty much everything Turtles that Super 7 has shown off in the past year or so has been released, even the long-delayed Wave 7 of the Ultimates. They had several exclusives at Comic-Con that I went over in my previous video. The only thing outstanding at the moment is the 2003 figures that they did show off in prototype form. Since they did that, we might actually get to see the next wave of 2003 figures in prototypes as well. Playmates has brought back a lot of vintage toys, and more surprisingly, the vehicles and playsets like the Technodrome and Pizza Thrower. And there's more on the way with the Sewer playset and the Mutant module that were teased at San Diego Comic-Con. And on the new old figure front, we are getting some Mutant Military reissues, and I can't wait to see what's next for the vintage line. And dovetailing off the vintage, we have the remastered. These TMNT figures seem to be a love 'em or hate 'em kind of thing, but I think it's a good idea overall, even though I think there were a few missteps with the Turtles themselves. And at SDCC, Playmates dropped the news that this line will be continuing with a Shredder and Rocksteady. At the con, we got some digital renders of the figures, but we did end up getting a leak with actual product, and I like the way that they look. And more recently, M. Smith TMNT on Instagram gave us our first look at Splinter and what appears to be remade, remastered TMNT figures, fixing a couple of those missteps I mentioned, like giving Leo and Don the proper heads, and maybe getting rid of that skin texture. And another recent surprise was a Playmate-style Last Ronin Raph, that I'm assuming goes with the previous Last Ronin release. I wonder how far they're going to go with these figures. This year, Playmates made toys based on the first sketch of all 4 Turtles in full color and black and white variant. And at the Comic-Con panel, it was hinted that we'd be getting sketch versions of Shredder and Bebop, which I think is pretty cool because I love all these variants of classic characters. Other than that, hopefully in the future we'll see some new Mutant Mayhem figures or Tales of the TMNT. The sky really is the limit. Mattel's already given us a lot of Turtles of Grayskull figures, but this set expanded at Comic-Con with the Reptile Wars, giving us a new set of Turtles in snake hunting armor just like the old Motu line, as well as a Snake Super Shredder, King Hiss Foot Soldier, Ninjor, who's been mutated into a dragon, Clamp Champ with a snapping turtle clamp, a turtleized Mechanic, and a very creepy mutated Rattler that looks like he's barfing up his own skeleton. Now the question is, does it continue after these figures, since they could be moving on with the recently announced Masters of the Universe Thundercats crossover? I hope we get the Slime Pit at the very least before it's over. There have been some new heavy hitters in the Turtle game ramping up their contributions to the marketplace, like Mondo. Honestly, the vinyls are turning out amazing and look to keep going, and so far the character selection has been great. And I'm really stoked for the 1/6 scale figures that they teased. If they are anything like the Masters of the Universe figures, I'll be a very happy collector. I passed on these cartoon style TMNT, but the first releases that Mezco put out are probably my favorite Turtles of the year. New and familiar all at the same time, and the attention to detail is top notch. I felt like the cartoon style was just a little bit off. But what I really want to talk about is them expanding the line. I have the Casey, and the recent Shredder reveal was just what I was hoping for. My hope is that we at least get a Foot Ninja, Splinter, and of course April before they're done. And I'm going to put these two together because some of the best TMNT items in my opinion have been the mechs from Heat Boys and the figures from Joy Toy. The Heat Boys mech turtles and the newly up for pre-order Shredder are truly works of art. And I'm hoping we get a closer look at a finished April, Splinter, and Krang soon. Not to mention that they also announced that they are making standard figures as well. And the Joy Toy line is already expanding the roster. I can't wait to see some fan favorite characters in their particular style. And it doesn't seem like they make us wait long between reveals. Not too long ago we got Toka, Slash, and Krang, who look beautiful, but we also just got a Casey Jones and more importantly 3 Triceratons. Similar to the NECA and the cartoon, we now have gnarly versions of Zorax, Zork, and a Triceraton infantryman. These smaller, third-party figures from places like Joy Toy and Rage Toys are really breathing new life into the property. And to be honest, it's nice to have some smaller figures that don't take up that much space. I know there are other companies out there making figures like Loyal Subjects and Linjuan, Funko, The list just keeps going, and it seems like everyone is making turtle toys these days. I'm not complaining, I'm just a little overwhelmed. So I'm honestly going to stop here, because very soon we'll be flooded with all the new reveals for 2025 at Toyfair. When that happens, be sure to come back here and I will share all my thoughts on all the new turtle goodness. As usual, it's nice to have all you guys come by so I can talk about turtles, even though I am currently dealing with the flu, so hopefully I'm better when Toyfair rolls around. But until then, later dudes.
Still, maybe it's better to just live in the present.
Hey guys, if you liked the video, don't forget to kick that like button, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. I upload every Turtle Tuesday, so you can always come back to see what's new. You can also check me out on various social media, links in the description. And as always, for all things turtles, check TMNT Universe.